Welcome to your Full Circle Friday. I'm Sara, Full Circle Wellspring's certified trauma recovery coach. We trauma survivors are on a healing journey to rediscover our authentic selves, and today I'd like to share something to help you in your post-traumatic growth. Today's topic is I.F.S. Straight from the I.F.S. Institute itself, Internal Family Systems is a powerfully transformative, evidence-based model of psychotherapy. I.F.S. is a movement, a new, empowering paradigm for understanding and harmonizing the mind and thereby larger human systems. One that can help people heal and helps the world become a more compassionate place. I.F.S. was developed by Dr. Richard Schwartz just a few decades ago. In that short time, this model of therapy has revolutionized the lives of many trauma survivors. The basis of this model comes from the belief that all parts within each human have a positive purpose and intent, no matter the way they present to the human and the world as a whole. Before we go any further, let's discuss what I just meant by all the parts. Firstly, I.F.S. identifies the self as a whole healed person, your true self, that authentic self that I'm always going on and on about. This self is not the watcher or observer the way that some meditation models explain it. The self is the one who the watcher watches. The self, the seat of consciousness as you may know it, is you. You can know you are operating as a self-led being when you are experiencing the 8 C's that I.F.S. explains: confidence, calmness, creativity, clarity, curiosity, courage, compassion, and connectedness. When those 8 C's are harmonized and working together, you would say you are in your true self. This is often described as feeling centered, which is probably one of my favorite C words. Next, the parts come into play. The I.F.S. model is often called parts work when you are doing therapy, literally working with your parts. The exiles, they are often the child age parts that have been isolated from the system due to trauma or abuse. They are shunned, shamed, feared, or guilted into exile. Exiles are the parts that are least heard, but they are the ones that want to be heard the most. Because exiles are traumatized and often silenced or invisible, they can be hard to find. And once found, they can be hard to communicate with. However, the exiles are what I.F.S. intends to root out, listen to, and heal. The protectors' jobs are all attempts to keep the exiles from being seen because they hold so much shame and fear and guilt, so the protectors feel they are a threat to the entire system. The protectors come in 2 forms: managers and firefighters. Managers are a proactive role, the ones who like to keep the system in order. They're protecting the system from ever getting out of control at work, relationships, in stressful situations, anywhere. Managers' jobs are to keep the system from being hurt, rejected, or shamed anymore. This can come in form of caretaking, overworking, drill sergeant-like task management, overachieving, overanalyzing, strict preparing, constant planning, worrying, complicating relationships and events with overthinking, and drastic protective measures, etc. Firefighters are the reactive parts that, when an exile gets triggered, it lashes out in an attempt to put out the fire of feeling the exile's often strong emotions. This looks like self-destructive behavior, risky choices, self-harm, suicidal ideation, binge eating, drug and alcohol addictions, any number of numbing behaviors, and more. Both protectors are working to control the system from the exile being activated. They just approach with different techniques. Both protectors believe they are doing what they can to attend to the exiles and to keep the system safe and healthy. This is why I.F.S. believes that all parts of a person are intended for good, no matter the outcome of their protective style. So even the parts that seem self-punitive are honestly self-protecting. This shift in thinking allows you to befriend your parts, hear them, be gentle and kind to them, and work toward a solution instead of striving to just stop doing the negative behavior that are associated with each of the parts' roles. This is why I personally believe that all healing is always possible, because the system is always trying to keep the true self functioning. Along the way, you've learned coping skills, some protectors that have been around since the very first instance of abuse as a child, and they're there to keep you safe. They did serve a purpose. As a child, if you couldn't leave your dysfunctional home and the only solace you found was in binge eating junk food, that mechanism allowed you to survive in the home until you could leave. That's why it no longer is serving you now, but it's also why you can appreciate its role in your life then and how you can heal that part. The binge eating protector and the exiled, scared inner child who used the binge eating to survive. You can indeed heal through inner child work. Reparent yourself now. Heal your exiles, which are often young versions of yourself, and make a full circle recovery back to your true centered self. I.F.S can help you rebuild your intrapersonal bridge within yourself, repair your self-trust issues, and reunite with your self-abandoned dreams and goals like we spoke on a few weeks ago. Recently, I recommended Dr. Schwartz's book called No Bad Parts in my episode called Books. I personally have been self-studying parts work for a few years and have entered into self-exploration of my own inner child healing since the pandemic. I am working on joining an I.F.S circle training this spring, but I am not trained as ISF certified. However, I do use a lot of this language in my coaching sessions. If you had developmental trauma, I.F.S is impactful and healing down to the roots of your original traumas. Because I'm not clinically trained in this modality, I'm going to encourage you on a couple of things. Firstly, read No Bad Parts to get a better grasp beyond this very quick synopsis that I'm just sharing with you. This is a very incomplete overview. Keep learning and even try some of the self-therapy exercises in the book. Next, think about whether you are in a place in your trauma recovery journey where you believe I.F.S therapy would be a good step for you. Whatever you decide, coaching is always an option for you. However, I'm not plugging I.F.S just to plug my own coaching services. I honestly want you to find healing, and I know the I.F.S model process can help. Feel free to send me a message on the Connect tab of my website if you're not able to find an I.F.S therapist, or if you're placed on long wait lists, or maybe even you're struggling to know if I.F.S is right for you. I will help you with any resources I can offer. Even being coached with this type of language while I work on my own training could be helpful for you, especially if you have read Schwartz's books on this topic and are able to flesh out the basic concepts. I can help you go a bit deeper while you wait for a trained therapist's help as well. Healing the inner child is work that will literally change the trajectory of your adulthood from here on out. I look forward to walking this journey with you. Thank you for joining me for this week's Full Circle Friday. For more info, resources, support groups, classes, one-to-one private coaching, and more, visit www.fullcirclewellspring.com. For the latest info on schedules and updates, follow us on Facebook at Full Circle Wellspring. All other media, social links, blogs, and show notes are posted in the episode guide below. Until next time, be well, survivors.